Hello, welcome back to the VTOL VR Definitive Campaign Guide. We're continuing with the AH-94 Dragonfly quick flight missions today. Last time we completed the first important quick flight mission, Small Arms. And yeah. Now we'll go heading out into the second quick flight mission, Surprise Attack. Surprise the enemy with a quick and sneaky attack on their airbase. Yeah, it's not really much else to say. For this mission, you will need to act quickly and quietly. The enemy plans to launch several groups of aircraft from their base. Your objective is to destroy all of these aircraft before they take off. You will be taking off from a forward arming and refueling point, a FARP, about 30 miles from the target. Fly low and make your way to the airbase undetected. A bomber is inbound to land at the airbase. After it lands, the enemy fighters will begin to take off. You will have this window to strike while all the aircraft are still on the ground. Beware that if they spot you before you are ready to attack, they may launch preemptively to defend themselves. So this mission requires us to go fast but also be sneaky. So we need to be both fast and sneaky. So, yeah. What we need to do is get to the airbase. Ideally, we reach the airbase just as the bomber is landing, which is what we're gonna do. Yeah. So there is a specific route. There is a specific route that I have in mind. It's very similar to the one that, if you watch my previous VTOL VR videos, it's pretty similar to the one that I showed before. Basically, gonna go from the FARP. We're gonna go over these cliffs, but we're gonna fly low over the cliffs to use them as terrain cover. Then we're gonna dip into this ravine, into this hook ravine. And then we're gonna fly low along the river towards the airbase. However, we do need to be fast. We do still need to be fast because we only have about, I want to say, like 15 minutes. I'm not sure exactly how long. I haven't really timed it, but I think we have like around 15 minutes to actually reach the airbase before the bomber lands. So yeah, we gotta go fast. And in order for us to go fast, we need to. What we're gonna do is we're gonna carry as little as possible, because any extra weight and drag because carrying extra weapons is gonna give us a good amount of extra weight, which is not ideal, because that's gonna slow. Because carrying weapons is gonna it's gonna give us extra weight and extra drag, which is gonna slow us down. So what we gotta do is we gotta carry as little as possible. So what we're gonna do, see these rockets? Get them out of here. See these tow missiles? Get them out of here. See these Hellfires? Get them out of here. See this radar? Get it out of here. We do need a gun. We are gonna need some weapons, of course. So we're gonna carry So we're gonna bring a AH-94, because that's all we really need. Because we're just us basically trying to strafe aircraft while they're still on the ground, and of course, so the AH-94 will do plenty for that. Plus, it's way light. It's also significantly lighter than the M230. We're also gonna carry a single rack of missiles. We're gonna carry one rack of missiles. We're gonna carry one rack of ballistas. Mainly because we're mainly just gonna be using these ballistas just to basically take out the air defenses at the airbase from a good range before we close in. Because the airbase doesn't have many air defenses. It only has a couple of IR APCs guarding it. It only has IR SAMs. No, it does not have any radar guided SAMs. Oh, there is also a AAA gun. there are 2 IR APCs and a AAA gun guarding the base. So we're gonna carry a single rack of ballistas will do plenty for that, and that's it basically, and that's basically it. We're also gonna carry on our wingtips. We're gonna carry some stingers. We're also gonna carry some AH-94 stingers on our wingtips. These are AH-94 stingers, which are small heat-seeking air-to-air missiles. And these are just basically there just in case any of the fighters do manage to take off. Then we'll be able to basically just intercept any fighters that manage to take off. So yeah, basically right as they're taking off, we're just gonna blast them with these stingers, and they're gonna die. So yeah, and you know what else we're gonna get rid of? We're gonna get rid of the fuel. Yeah, we're just gonna turn down our fuel to reduce our weight even more. Because at full load, a full tank of fuel in the Dragonfly gives us it gives us a 90-minute endurance, and that's way more than we need. We do not need a 90-minute endurance. So we're gonna turn down our fuel load to about let's see, full load is 870. We're gonna turn down our fuel load to about to about 400 liters. Yeah, about 400 liters of fuel, and that will still be plenty of fuel. So and yeah, this is our loadout. Just our gun, our gun, 1 rack of ballistas. The ballistas are a little bit heavier than the ballistas are a bit heavier than Hellfires, but that'll be fine. That'll be fine. And yeah, and if we do this perfectly, we shouldn't need the stingers, but you know, it's better to be safe. And yeah, let's go. No radar. We're also gonna put on the desert camo because we're in the desert. Alright, let's go. Alright, let's get up in the air. So
take off as soon as possible and make your way to the airbase. Time is of the essence.
Roger. Let's get started. Let's quickly get started up. Alright. Starting engines. So we want to get started up, and we want to head out as soon as possible. Come on. Starting up in this aircraft is starting up in the AH-94 is pretty slow because you have to wait for the rotor to spin up. Yeah, that's pretty annoying. Come on. Come on, come on. Our engines are up. Full power. APU off. Alright. Alright, rotor's up to speed. Let's get going. Let's get going. Alright, we're gonna immediately start heading out. Gear up. Gear up to minimize drag. And we gotta move. So as I mentioned, we're using a similar route as I did in the previous time I ran this mission.
Try to remain below the radar and find yourself a good spot to set up before you attack.
Roger.
We need to time it so the bomber lands first before they begin scrambling, so you can pick them all off while they're on the ground. If they spot you first, that bomber might abort landing.
Roger. Indeed. So we need to stay low. We need to stay low or use terrain to avoid the radar. And the radar is and there is only one radar. There is only one enemy radar which is located at the base itself. But it's located. But the radar is actually located in a random spot at the enemy base. So yeah, the radar placement is random. It's in a random spot at the enemy airbase. So sometimes you can actually get lucky and it'll spawn, and the radar will actually appear behind like one of the hangars or something. But I wouldn't count on it. All right, we need to get over these cliffs. We're gonna swing right into that canyon so we can have a slightly shallower climb. That way we can preserve a bit of speed. Plus, we also want to keep right a bit when going up on this cliff. When going over this cliff. So we want to sort of keep to the right of this canyon, of this little canyon over here. This little ravine. Getting up to the cliff. All right. Now we're going to swing to the left, so we can and start heading towards the. And we're gonna like head towards this. Head towards the hook ravine. All right, we're up. We're up. Now we're just gonna stay low. We're gonna try to stay low. So I recommend keeping your nav display up this entire mission, at least on your ingress route, because the bomber is always gonna be in this mission, the bomber will always be marked on your nav display. So you can see the bomber. That's the bomber over there. You want to keep an eye on the bomber's position. That way you know when the bomber is going to be. That way you know when the bomber is going to be approaching, beginning its landing, beginning its. Oh geez, careful. That way we know when the bomber is going to be beginning its approach. Because we're gonna be busy beginning our run as soon as we see that the bomber is beginning its approach to land. As soon as the bomber is on final approach, the bomber will circle around the airbase a few times before beginning its final approach. So that'll give. So yeah. We'll know when the bomber's on final. And we can tell if the bomber's on final when it's when we see that it's approaching the airbase and it's lined up for the runway. So remember, stay low, use terrain for cover. We should be covered from the radar now. We're gonna swing towards the ravine. And then we're gonna dive down into the ravine, and that'll give us a lot of speed, and that'll actually give us a lot of speed. Altitude. We're gonna head towards the ravine and dive into it. That'll give us a lot of speed, and don't worry about and that might overstress the airframe of this thing a bit, possibly. I'm sure it's fine. Altitude. So you want to swing towards the ravine once you see you're behind, this cliff. Once you see that the objective marker is behind the cliff. And we're gonna gain so much speed diving into this ravine. Some might consider a dangerous amount of speed. A helicopter flying at nearly 300 knots is possibly some might consider that dangerously high speed for a helicopter. I'm sure it's fine. It's actually the speed's actually so high that we actually have to trim up and to the right to counteract the tilt. All right. So again, you want to keep an eye on the bomber. You want to keep an eye on the bomber to make sure so that you want to keep an eye on the bomber's position, and because we want to begin our run once the bomber is on final approach. Because once we see the bomber's on final approach, we have to make a beeline. We're gonna have to make a beeline for the objective, because that means we're out of time. That means we have to go. But don't worry. Don't worry if you see. But don't worry. As long as you are close enough, like within like 10 miles, we should be fine. Because the fighters cannot take off as long as the bomber is landing, and the bomber will not abort its. Will not. Once it's on final, it will not abort its landing. Also, another thing about this mission, I recommend not quick saving. At least not until you reach the airbase. I found that quick saving tends to break the bomber's AI, and that just makes the bomber like never actually land. That'll actually make the bomber never actually begin its approach. And because the fighters won't take off until the bomber actually lands, that'll basically give you all the time in the world to actually fly to the airbase, and that kind of goes against the spirit of the mission, since this is supposed to be a timed mission. Looks like the bomber might be turning on to final now, which is fine, because this is actually fine. We're at about 10 miles. Looks like the bomber is turning on to final now. Yeah, the bomber's on final approach. That's fine. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna this is actually fine. We want to be around here when the bomber turns on the final. So we're gonna fly over this cliff, and we're gonna head towards the airbase. Because remember, the bomber will not abort its landing once it's on final approach, and the fighters cannot take off while the bomber is landing. So we're gonna reveal So this is where we reveal ourselves. And it's okay. We still have time, and even once the bomber lands, because the bomber still has to like taxi off the runway. And it has to like decelerate and taxi off the runway. So we still have time. All right. Here we are on final approach. All right. This is it. Let's do this. The fighters are already taxiing to the runway, so we gotta be quick. Bomber's just about to touch down, looks like. Alright, arming weapons. So what we want to do is try to...
Okay, the bomber has touched down.
The bomber's just touched down.
Don't let any of those jets take off.
Roger. We want to try to locate the IR-APCs around, which are also randomly located around the airbase. There's one over there. It's okay, we have time. Still time. Remember, if any of them take off, we can use our stingers. Rifle. Gonna use our ballistas to take out the IR APCs. Because remember, we have time as long as the bomber hasn't taxied off the runway yet. We'll climb a bit so we can get a better view. Alright, one shot IR APC. I don't see where there's a AAA. Alright, there's also a couple of bunkers we want to watch out. There's also a couple of bunkers. Looks like the fighter is lining up for takeoff. It's fine. Yeah, enemy fighters rolling. Alright, Fox 2. Splash.
Missile shaft flare.
Oh, I see it. I see the IRPC. Rifle.
Shaft flare.
Yeah, we want to be careful. We want to not get too close because, you know.
Shaft flare.
Alright, IRPC destroyed. Oh, shoot. Come on. Alright, rifle. Alright, splash. Well, not getting too close because those bunkers are still there. Because of those bunkers. Alright, all targets destroyed.
All aircraft have been destroyed. That was a close call. You can return to the farm.
Roger. All targets destroyed. Turn. Alright. Yeah, that was a little close, but it's fine. But that's fine, honestly. Alright, all targets destroyed. Returning to base. Alright, now we just gotta head back to base. So, yeah. Once we just remember, so, yeah. Just follow what I did right there. Once the bombers started, once we saw the bombers on final approach, we started making a beeline straight for the airbase. The bomber might touch down. The bomber will probably touch down before you get in range. That's fine. If you spot any of the fighters, because once the bomber gets off the runway, the fighters will start taking off. If any manage to get airborne, just shoot them down with your stingers. Ideally, and you know, if you use stingers, you want to do it like you want to try to lock on and fire either right before, probably like right as or before they're rotating, because that minimizes the chance of the missile. That minimizes the chance of the missile actually losing. That minimizes the chance of the missile losing lock, because those fighters are going to be an afterburner, and yeah, that'll give it the greatest chance of the missile impacting the target and not being distracted by the flares. Of course, we want to try to locate the two IR APCs, and take them out, and take them out because they're going to pose a threat to us. I managed to locate the first one, but the second one was behind like the aircraft tents, so I couldn't spot it. But you know, it's fine. If you'll be able to spot them from once they fire at you, you'll be able to spot them from their missile trails. So you know, if you don't manage to spot both IRPCs, be ready to pop flares. I also took out that AAA gun, and that's by the AAA gun that's always located by the control tower. There are also three. Yeah, I forgot to mention it earlier, but there's also 3 bunkers located at the airbase, and so you want to try to keep a little bit of distance. You want to try to keep a little bit of distance from the aircraft tents, because those bunkers will fire at you. And you know, you want to avoid that. If you want, you can also use a ballista to try to take out one of the to take out some of the aircraft. Take out some of the aircraft while they're still on the ground. But honestly, once you're close enough, you can just like target the aircraft with your gun. You can just gun down all the aircraft. Just use your TGP. Just scroll to them with your TGP and then just fire and then just shoot them. I'm gonna dump this empty hardpoint. So of course on the way back we don't have to stay hidden on the way back. We don't have to stay hidden on the way back, so we can climb all we want. This is actually a good altitude right here. I'm just gonna put the autopilot on, and now we're just gonna make our journey back to the farm. So yeah, that was honestly that was pretty clean. I'd say that was a pretty clean mission. That was a pretty clean execution, I'd say. Maybe we got a tiny bit too close to the bunkers and they started firing at us. I don't think we took any hits, but anyways, it's fine. A couple of them did manage to like stop. A couple of fighters did manage to start rotating and get airborne, but they were quickly shot down by the. They were quickly shot down by the. They quickly got shot down by the. By our stingers. And a funny thing I noticed is that the IRAPC's missile actually got dummied by it got dummied off by one of the fighter's flares that deployed when I fired my stinger. So that's funny. That's pretty funny. Now, as for remaining undetected on our way to the target, we want, of course, we just used the canyons and terrain for cover as we made our way there. So I've heard some people say that the AH-94 is a stealth helicopter. Honestly, I don't really believe it. Maybe if you're literally carrying nothing at all, but pretty much all of the time we're gonna be carrying weapons racks. We're gonna be carrying, a lot of the time we're gonna be carrying weapons racks. We're gonna be carrying a radar. We're gonna be carrying a gun that's just sticking out. That doesn't seem very stealthy. So yeah, I wouldn't count on it. Like, maybe if the helicopter is literally carrying nothing. Anyway, as you can see, we're heading back now, and we still have so much fuel left. We still have a 40-minute endurance. So yeah, we started with 400 liters of fuel, and we're basically gonna be down to like 250 liters. So yeah, plenty of fuel. We had plenty of fuel. Probably could have even brought it down to 300 liters. So yeah, plenty of fuel. Don't worry about your fuel. If anyone recognizes it, if you guys recognize this, some of you might actually recognize this map, if not like by this terrain, maybe by the enemy airbase or just by the map itself. This is actually the exact same map as missions 1 and 2 of Operation Desert Cobra. Yeah, it is the exact same map. And this enemy airbase we just attacked, that was actually the eastern airbase. Yeah, the eastern enemy airbase that we struck in mission 2 of Operation Desert Cobra. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's they reuse the map. That's fine. we're basically on a glide slope down towards the FARP right now. About like 7-degree glide. That's fine. 8-degree glide. And we're also reducing our speed. Yeah, but yeah, the enemy just never knew what hit him. The bomb, my enemy be like, my day be so fine, then boom, attack helicopter out of nowhere. All right, let's get ready. Let's get ready. Let's prepare for landing. All right, gear down. Prepare for landing. It can be hard to see when landing. If you have trouble seeing while landing, I recommend. Oh, jeez.
Ground crew is ready to rearm on your command.
All right, nice. A little bit of a rough landing right there. It's fine. I'm gonna try to adjust adjust the parking a bit. On the helipad. All right, I think that's good. All right, that should be good. So that was a little bit of a rough landing. That's fine. As I was saying, if you have a trouble seeing while landing, what you can do is switch put your TADs in. You can put your TGP in head track mode and switch it to color view. That way you can see. That way you can see through your helicopter when landing. Anyways, all right. Let's shut her down. All right. Hooray. Oh, and I forgot to mention, one thing I forgot to mention is that you do have to destroy the bomber as well. Like, you have to destroy, your objective is to destroy all of the aircraft, but you also have to destroy the bomber. So, yeah, remember to destroy the bomber as well. If you destroyed all the fighters and can't find the bombers will be parked in one of the big hangars. So just like, I don't know, just get a little low and peek inside the hangar. The bomber will probably be parked in there, and then you can just, blast it. So yeah. And that's the mission. That's gonna be it for today. Thank you guys for coming, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.